The Square Ball Podcast.
Well, hello there and welcome to the show. This is The West Stand, a show we debuted at the start of last season, which you'll find sort of each end of the week, Monday and Friday, generally speaking. You can find it on YouTube. It's in your podcast app as well. Guests from across the world of Leeds United. My name is Dan Moylan. Hello to you. With me is Chris Mack on this one.
Hello.
NordVPN bring you this show. VPN is a virtual private network. Your device connects securely to a remote server in your country or abroad, and no one can see your traffic. So if you want your browsing to be secure and private, away from prying eyes, NordVPN might be the thing for you here. It can help you watch sport, TV, movies that aren't available in your region by switching virtual location. You can use it on up to 10 devices. It's compatible with smart TVs, streaming sticks, consoles, phones, laptops. I've got it, and I've got it on all of those in my house because ISPs often throttle the bandwidth of your streaming traffic, so using NordVPN can prevent that. Turn it on with a single click, and then you're protected on insecure public Wi-Fi, whether you're at home or abroad. And if you want performance, you will get it with Nord. It's the fastest VPN in the world, all backed by a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. To get the exclusive discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/TSB. You will get additional months there off the discounted 2-year plan. Risk-free as well, because Nord offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. nordvpn.com/TSB. You will also find a link in the episode description box. Today's guest is Tony Dorigo from LUTV, former Leeds United title-winning left-back as well. Welcome back.
G'day. How are you?
Nice to see you. Good.
Good.
It's going all right, isn't it?
It's going nice. It is going nice. Yeah, I'm in a good place. I think we're in a good place. I mean, looking on, I think the boys have done very well so far.
So we wanted to pick your brains today, Tony, particularly in the wide area. So we'll react to Daniel Farke's press conference, which happened Thursday afternoon. At the time of recording this, it was yesterday. Some problems in the wide areas with injuries, but also we wanted to talk about the fullbacks as well, because obviously that is your area of expertise as a former left back. So where should we start? Should we start with the issues in the wide areas and maybe what's going to happen against Spurs? And
go on then.
Because Brendan Aronson getting a lot of game time at the minute. Yeah. I thought he was quite good against Bournemouth within his own sort of limitations. You know what you're going to get from him out there, which is a lot of running and stuff. So what do you make of the wide areas, first of all?
I think there's no doubt that Brendan, you look at the effort he puts in is just incredible. And I think as a manager, you look at him and think, okay, yeah, this is exactly what I want you to do. And Brendan goes out there and does that. That the manager himself and all of us look at the other bits than we'd like him to do, kind of in that last third bit. But I tell you what, he allows others to actually, go and flourish as well. And we'll talk about the fullbacks, but on that side, of course, Bogle, it's ideal for Bogle to be able to get up and down and have someone there who can, really rely on. So it's interesting. I think it gives us a bit more, solidity. And I think when you're playing against certain sides, that isn't a bad thing. Absolutely.
The fullback's pushing on then and supporting the wide men. It's not happening quite as much this season, is it?
No, you pick and choose when to go. I think it was quite easy just to tear forward every single minute that you wanted to in the Championship. Now you've really got to pick and choose. And we saw against Bournemouth, I thought Bournemouth were a good side, really good side. And the way they countered, when they went forward, my goodness, they did it quickly in numbers, with quality. So therefore, if you're just out of sync or if you commit a body too much, you're going to be in trouble. Hence why I think at times, we pick and choose our moments, and they've been doing it really well, to be fair, the fullbacks.
Do you think in terms of the wide areas with Bournemouth's strength, they had a lot of strength in the quality in wide areas, and Spurs are probably the same. So is that maybe why we're a little bit more balanced and defensive?
Yeah, I think certainly you looked at Semenyo. I thought he still got a bit of space in that kind of first half. We nullified him way more in the second half. But quality players, it's hard to kind of keep them out of the game completely. So you need to be patient. You need to have moments in the game where you think, okay, I'm going to have to suffer a bit here. I'm going to have to just go into a position to try and, stop them doing what they're doing. And I think, that's what we've been doing. And that's where I think the Aronson, kind of position certainly helps with things like that. Yeah, at the same time at home, you want to go forward. You want to be adventurous. You want to be attacking. But picking and choosing, I think, is a key attribute in the Premier League.
Are the bits of this year's approach that you recognise from your own playing days and playing with Chappie up front as a target man like Dominic Calvert-Lewin as your number 9, who that you can hit? Because it is a real counterpoint to what we saw last season.
It is interesting. I interviewed Dominic after the Wolves game, and we had a brief chat. And I said, you know what? this like crossing to the back post thing just might catch on. I don't know. What do you think? You know? And he said, no, I do a lot more than that. I said, no, of course you do a load more than that. But what I'm saying is you got to mix it up. You know, we haven't had that, have we really? That big towering centre forward at the back stick. You're right. Chappie was exactly that. And as a fullback, I'm thinking, well, I know exactly where he's going to be. So once I get a half a yard, I am going to whiz it into that back stick. And I think Bogle tried exactly the same thing. And to be fair, it was a great header. But yeah, you look at Dominic Calvert-Lewin and he can do all the bits that you need him to do in that he holds it up. He gets hold of it with his feet, on his chest, flicks it on, runs the channels. So you now have the option to play all, different ways. So you're right. There's some different tactics going on for sure.
And I suppose it gives you more comfort as a fullback that if you're not bombing on quite as much, that you have that outlet, that option. It's a plan B, I suppose, isn't it? Because that Wolves goal caught me a little bit by surprise. We were saying, weren't we, like in the analysis of it? And you'd actually, to be fair to you, Chris, you'd been saying in the run-up to all this, just stick it in the box. It'll cause chaos. And we did it immediately in that game. And just it led to a goal almost out of nowhere. Because it always feels like, or it felt like anyway in the Championship, that Daniel Farke's team, you could sense when a goal was coming. You could almost see it coming a mile off with the way that we approached it, with the patient build-up and knocking it around. And suddenly, he's hoofed it into the box. Not hoofed it. It's a precision ball into the box. And he's just stuck it in with his head.
You're right. And what is wrong with that? I mean, you look at the game so far this season, and I was looking at the opposition and us, and suddenly they're hurling long throws in. Suddenly they're just launching it into the box, out your hands. So if you can get it into the dangerous area with quality, it doesn't matter how you do it. If you can do it consistently, you're going to be a danger, absolutely. I think as a defender, I always used to think that if I know exactly how a team are going to play, or I've got an opposite number, a winger against me that I know what he's going to do and it's going to be similar every single time, it's an easy game because you know what they're going to do. But if I don't know what they're going to do, if they keep changing things, then it's difficult. And I think that's what that brings. So the long throws, the long crosses, if you mix it up, it's certainly a good weapon.
We had a chat yesterday, didn't we, about the style in the Premier League and how it's obviously very highly technical, but it does feel almost like it's moved away from the Pep Guardiola influence a little bit now and gone back towards physicality where pace and power counts for a lot more. Yeah,
one thing I've thought is that directness was a bit of a dirty term. Like it was used in a pejorative manner, like, Sean Dyche and that. But now that Arsenal and Man City are being a little bit more getting it up them, it's not like it seems the teams are a little bit more willing. You don't have everyone just passed out from the back nowadays. Teams like to get it forward a little bit more quickly.
It's funny because you look at the way that we kind of used to play. Then we have the European influence of managers and players, and our style, starts to change. But I think that pendulum has gone from there, and then suddenly we've gone way too far that way. And I just look at Southampton from last season. I mean, I kept looking at them thinking, what are you guys trying to do? You're continually going to play out. So if I know you're always going to play out, I'm just going to wait and then push up at the right time, win the ball back. And they just kept doing it and do it. For me, that's a sign of craziness. I just never got it.
That was the worry with Arsenal, wasn't it? We did that at Arsenal. I was like, lads, come on. Yeah, not there.
Well, you're right. But I think the thing at Arsenal is I saw then suddenly a bit of confidence go. So, certainly in the passing, because to be fair, their closing there was superb. I mean, they were, really good at it. All of a sudden as well, you talk about outlets or options on the ball. The boys are thinking, well, I'm getting closed down. They take an extra touch. You look up and there's no option because everyone's kind of marked. And all of a sudden that, I suppose, real confidence to play out, I think it kind of disappeared. And then we gave the ball away kind of a heck of a lot. And you're right, we caused our own problems to start with. Then we kept giving the ball away. And then from there on, you're thinking, wow, if we can get to halftime 1-0, we've kind of swum the channel here. And unfortunately, we conceded just before and it was always going one way, unfortunately.
Do you think that would have been a different game if Dominic Calvert-Lewin would have been fit enough to start?
Well, it's the option that you can certainly use in the first 10 minutes or so. And I remember back when I was playing, you always want to, obviously you want to keep the ball, absolutely, but at the same time, if a team are at home, they're aggressive, they're going to push right on. Nothing wrong with turning them and getting them pushed back a bit. And that means, the long ball, but you look really silly if you've got no one to kind of pass it to. Hence, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, kind of doesn't matter where you put it. Even if it's not to him, you put it in a certain area, his pressure is enough then for us to win the ball with a throw-in. So, yeah, that option, I suppose, would have been good.
Speaking of confidence, it's an interesting thing you raised there, Tony, because we saw the huddle on the pitch against Bournemouth, and we picked that apart and said it's good that you've got players adopting leadership roles, even if they don't have the armband. And we've seen in the last couple of years, without Ampadu, we were not the same beast as with him in the team. Mm-hmm. But it feels like they've made maybe it's a conscious effort to recruit people who have those sort of leadership traits within that group, because he was basically taking them by the scruff of the neck there and saying, you don't need to be scared of this lot.
You're absolutely right. And when you talk about leadership and armband, I don't see that. I see that that is important, the armband for sure, but leaders are everywhere on the pitch, and you lead in different ways. And, some are vocal, some are in what they do. And that's what a strong group is. And I looked at that, and you're right. Longstaff was, extremely vocal, Rodon at times, Ampadu's in there. They're all just trying to get through to, I think, the team in that, we've mixed it already this season with some really good teams. We are competitive. We're actually, we're better than we think. Where everyone's talking about just survive. But, we shouldn't be thinking like that. We should be going into every game trying to win that game. And this is one at home. We're going to be a challenge for everyone. Let's get it on. And I think that message is really good because listen, we're all looking at, okay, just get to the 36, 37, 38 point mark and then see what we can do. But that doesn't equate to the here and now. So for a player, it's a case of, no, we're good enough. Let's go out and win this game. Yeah.
Do you think there's maybe a slight lack of confidence then prior to that? Or maybe not confidence, belief, just well, but I'm not saying they was necessarily scared so much as just not fully realising their own potential maybe.
But I think it's understandable, don't you think? I mean, you've got the last... it's 6 teams that have come up and gone straight back down, and they're not even close, by the way. The points margin. So you've got to be looking at that and thinking, oh, this is going to be tough. Then I suppose you look at the players who are now getting that second chance at the Premier League, and they haven't proved themselves before. Let's be honest. So Rodon, hasn't been proven at the Premier League. Ampadu, not quite. Dan James, not really. You go through them. And so they're all thinking, I want another go. But to be fair, I think those players have stepped up and got better. But it's not as if you've been there, seen it and done it for the last 7-8 seasons. So, I played in the Premier League. When I played for 7-8 seasons, I've seen it all. Yeah. And I go out there with a certain level of confidence. If I've not done that, I'm sure there's got to be, a doubt or two.
Do you think some of the lack of confidence comes from the fact, see, at the start of the season, I listened to a lot of the main sort of podcasts around the Premier League, and everyone backed the 3 promoted teams who came up to go back down. Mm-hmm. And they even accepted that they don't really know. Like, actually, BBC Sport had all their experts had the promoted teams to come straight back down. Yeah. Which felt a little bit ignorant, actually, more than...
I think it's an easy cop-out as well, just to say that.
Don't you think a lot of the punditry is like that in the Premier League, though?
Yeah, I do.
I do. A lot of it seems grossly oversimplified or going on almost old tropes, I think, to a certain extent.
It's, trends and stuff they've read online.
Which, without wishing to blow smoke up your arse, it's nice to have something like LUTV that actually is closer to it, understands the nuance, the mood around the club, the confidence and that sort of stuff.
I was about to say, because the pundits you're talking about, there's no way that they watch every single minute of every single game, simple as that. And that's what we do. And we kind of understand what's going on. And when I say a lack of confidence, I don't mean confidence. I probably mean a lack of belief in actually how good they can be and how good they are performing. But as the season's going on, as they're playing well, that belief is just coming and coming. So we've made a good confident start. Obviously, Arsenal's the only blip, but after that, I think we've done great.
And I suppose it's exponential, isn't it? The more points you get on the board, the more the confidence grows. The more the confidence grows, the more points you get on
Absolutely,
the board.
And it's the same as at home. We haven't lost a game now. We're winning games, getting some clean sheets, doing great. You run out at Elland Road, those boys must be thinking, wow, this is good.
Thinking back to the 91-92 title winning side, how many on-pitch leaders would you say there were? I mean, the obvious ones that spring to mind, obviously Strack was the leader in the dressing room, but Gary McAllister was the on-field captain for spells of it as well. So when you look at that 1 to 11, how many would you say were sort of being the on-field captains there?
Yeah, well, you're right. So Strack obviously was very influential, no doubt. But Macca as well, always wanting the ball, always talking, guiding. You can't tell me Bats wasn't a leader, because as soon as there was a challenge there, bang, in he went, and that set the tone for everyone else. So, he's leading the start of a game for everyone. And then Chappie, always demanding what he wants the ball up there, helping Rod. I mean, John Lukic in his own very quiet way, but just, a calming influence. In lots of different areas, different players did different things. And that's when I talk about leading. So Gary Speed for me, crikey. He would, before a game, a lot of the time, come to me, right, Tony, today, what do we think? What do we want? Do you want me here? Do you want me there? Where would you like me to position? And all this sort of stuff. I'm thinking, crikey, mate, this is incredible, brilliant. But, already he's leading by, showing ambition and structure. This is what I want. This is what I can do for you. This is, all of that sort of stuff is leading in different ways. And so no one is just sitting there doing nothing, thinking, okay, I've just got my job to do. You go and help everyone. You talk to everyone.
Just thinking about the players having points to prove there, and you mentioned Dan James. Another run at the Premier League for him after a bit of a circuitous journey via a loan and relegation and then promotion again. He's obviously going to be out for a few weeks. I feel like we're going to miss him, even though he's not had a lot of impact at the start of this season just yet. Do you get a sense that maybe there's a little bit of carryover from the back end of last season and the injury?
For sure, yeah. Because if you think last season, Dan James at his best was, absolutely electric, incredible. He had a brilliant season, and I really wanted him to be 100% firing and fit, ready to go this season. But I don't quite think he has. There's been a problem fitness wise, and now of course he's out again. So I feel for him. So just got to be patient. He'll get back on the training ground, get fit. And then hopefully we'll see him back at his best. But certainly he's one that gives us something that other wingers don't really give us as well. So again, just a different style of player.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Looking at those wide areas, just to return to that, how Okafor is very much powerful and direct and tall. Dan James will give you the directness as well on the other side, but obviously not so tall. Nonto is cut inside and have a shot. There are different skill sets there.
Exactly. So depending on what sort of defence you're playing against or the fullback you're playing against, certainly Okafor is Okafor. Seemingly, that's how you pronounce it, because by commentating on LUTV, you get everyone telling you how to pronounce names, which is great.
Well, when Prim was on that chair a few weeks ago, he was tearing his hair out about how to get it exactly right. I think he loses sleep about these things.
Well, he does, and I say, you know what? I say to him, however you say it, mate, I'll just follow you, so don't worry, and it's your fault. So it's Okafor. So he has got some ability, hasn't he? Let's be honest. With that ball at his feet, running, slaloming through. He's quick, he's strong, and those players that can break the lines are vital. And we talked about before about keeping possession. Well, you can keep the ball all you want, but if you can get an extra man by someone breaking the line, suddenly bang, you're in. And he's one of those players. So good to see him playing. Good to see him getting fitter. One thing he said after the Wolves game as well, which really, really interested me, was that he says, "Wow, this Premier League is pacey. This is quick. Like." Every game, every minute of every game. And I said, yeah, so, the fitter you get, the stronger you're going to get, and then you'll be absolutely flying, because we've seen some brilliant parts to his game so far.
On Okafor, actually, we were talking about it after the Bournemouth match, but on the Bournemouth match ball, saying how, this is from what I've seen, in Italy, it's a little bit slower and more tactical, and you're thinking a lot of the time, whereas, as he says, the Premier League is a lot quicker, and it's every minute. Do you think that maybe suits someone whose best abilities are getting the ball and running at people and beating them?
I think in Italy, it's slower. I would say Italy is slow, then quick, then slow, then quick. So, just to say it's like slow all the time is wrong. They have their accelerating moments and what have you. But I think in Italy, you probably have the chance to catch a breath, get organised again, and then you go again. Whereas here, there's no real time to catch your breath at all. I mean, the pace of the game against Bournemouth was great. I mean, it was end-to-end stuff, really enjoyable. But playing would have been, difficult. So I think there was once or twice that Okafor kind of just switched off defensively, and his man went and tried to grab him and think, because he's just trying to catch a breath type of thing. But I think the fitter he gets, he'll be fine. But what he has got is that ability to take players on. And I think there was a run, wasn't there, in the first half? He didn't touch the ball for about 10, 15 minutes. We couldn't get it out to him. Suddenly he got on it and went boom. and there's an end product, either a great pass or a corner or whatever it is. So, I think he needs to just get used to the Premier League, like a lot of the players do.
How long does it take to make that adjustment? How long does it take to find that level of required fitness for the relentlessness of it, do you think? I mean, it's going to be different for every player.
Yeah, it's different for every player, because some players are just, naturally will build and will cope with it easier. Saying that, you can always improve, you can always get fitter. We've seen that under Bielsa. You look at some of the stats from before he came to when he came, and some of the players that did it, you think, no way are they running that far or that fast. So it can be done, no problems at all. It will just take a bit of adjustment.
This team has something to prove, doesn't it? When you examine what you're saying about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, almost not being defensive, but just saying, yeah, I do more than just headers. And Dan James making that step back up to the Premier League. That there is a desire in there to, and I suppose someone like Sean Longstaff as well, perhaps, who might possibly feel a little bit discarded having left his boyhood club in order to get first team football. And they're saying, you're not maybe quite of the level that we want going forward. So there's a lot of points to prove, I suppose, within that squad, aren't there?
There is, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's. So Sean Longstaff, I think he's a breath of fresh air. He is ideal. He's that experienced. He's come to really enjoy his football and doesn't overthink things as well. We interviewed him a few times, and just the way that he comes across is brilliant. Then you've got the likes of Anton Stach. He's great. He's just a bit of a free spirit, but again, what a player. But what I've noticed, you put all of them together, and okay, maybe they've got points to prove, but they do seem a strong unit. And I think that's interesting because we've added 9 or 10 players. And so that can easily upset, the balance of the team, easily upset the balance of the squad and the attitudes and all that sort of stuff. And I've seen the opposite, in that a lot of people have coming in with points to prove, not look who I am. It's like, no, I've got to get faster. I've got to get better. I've got to get into the team. I've got to, prove myself. And of course, the ones that are here are exactly the same. So I think there's a lot of determination, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I suppose you see that with Gudmundsson as well, don't you, to steer us towards the left-back conversation, that he was kind of on the fringes, in and out in France. Where was he? Was he at Lille?
He was at Lille. He played a lot of games, but he wasn't, I think, consistently wasn't the first choice left-back for any real period of time. And
yet he's come here and he's looked like he's instantly at home in the Premier League. An excellent start.
He has been brilliant. I have to say, I'm looking at a fullback in the Premier League. So obviously the Firpo's limitations are clearly defensively. Attacking wise, he was superb in the Championship. It suited him down the ground. He was he had a great season. He really did. But when you make that step up, you need the other side to your game as well, and that has to be strong. And that's what Gudmundsson's got. His awareness, his acceleration, I think, is superb. He's very, very comfortable in receiving the ball. And I felt for him at Fulham. I really did. After the game, he was actually sitting in the stand, just right at the bottom of the stand, with one of the Leeds security guys near him, and just with his head between his legs.
1,000-yard stare kind of stuff.
Yeah, just thinking, oh God, and I really, really felt for him. And you know what? He had, obviously he rued the mistake. It's a freak mistake, but I thought someone needs to say to him, you know what? You've had a great start to your career. You really have. You've done more. In a few games, everyone thinks, right, great. Now we've got a left back that we can rely on, and because fullbacks in the Premier League, we need two really strong ones that can defend well and get up and down. We'll come to Bogle as well, but certainly for Gudmundsson, he's been really impressive. He gets down that left hand side, can pick a pass, and then it's about the understanding as well with who you're playing with, and I think. I see a lot of communication there, and I see good things.
Do you think that's come quite quickly for what is, especially with Okafor in front of him, essentially a new left-hand side, isn't it?
It is, and sometimes it will change as well. You don't know who's going to be there, but that's why I talk about picking and choosing your moment. So, in the Championship, you give, you go, and you're okay because someone's going to get it, and Purdue will come and pick it up or what have you. Not the same in the Premier League. So when you're picking and going, you better do it at the right time, because if you get it wrong, you've got a 100-yard sprint back and you're out of position, and we might go a goal down. I've not seen that too often, which I think is really good.
Do you think with Gudmundsson defensively, some of the more positive things we've seen is because I think he plays in the left of a back three for Sweden, and I watched some of his Lille games just after he'd signed. last year, and he played at times on the left of a back three. So it must mean that he's a bit better defensively than your average left back.
Well, yeah, but also what that tells me is about positioning. Understanding your position relating to the ball, to the player, and all that sort of stuff. So he's got that extra bit of nous, I suppose. But he's so quick. That's what I like as well. He's so quick, and I love the kind of the way he ducks inside and goes, because that's very hard to stop. What I remember is with wingers, they don't like that. They don't like chasing you the other way, and so Gudmundsson, has got all that. But yeah, solid defensively, makes some great interceptions, and so far so good.
Yeah, Bogle on the other side then. Bit of an unsung hero, starting to look like £5 million. Very, very well spent, that.
Bargain, absolute bargain. And the same sort of thing in that, okay, Bogle, you've had a go at the Premier League. You're outstanding in the Championship. And I thought, you talk about leaders towards the end of last season as well. He was a leader. The last 6, 7, 8 games where everyone's thinking, what's going to go on here? He was, still doing all the right things. Is that
what being a leader is about in that side, under that sort of pressure? That it's continuing to do the things.
Stepping up. It's stepping up when it's tough. It's showing the way to go when the pressure's really, really on. It's not when you're winning 6-0 and doing something fancy. That's not being a leader. It's trying to help others through difficult moments when the pressure's on. And I thought he stepped up. Rodon, stepped up. James, I thought there was some really good characters that showed what they were about, and Bogle being one of them. So he gets to the Premier League, you're thinking, okay, still a test for you. How are you going to go? Are you going to keep flying up that right-hand side, just non-stop, dribbling your way into the box and what have you? But once again, I think defensively he's looked sound. He's got forward at the right time and still looks an absolute threat. And that's why I talk about Aronson, because Aronson likes to get it. He'll keep it. Sometimes he'll come backwards a lot, but he'll also then drift inside. And once he drifts inside, there's that gap for Bogle to pick and choose when he goes.
Can't be the only one who thought when we signed him, we thought, £5 million, good solid Championship signing there. We'll get up, we'll replace him. He'll serve a purpose for a bit. At that sort of fee, but actually he's stepped up really well, and I'm mindful that he's going to face some more difficult times across the course of this season, because there are a hell of a lot of very talented, big, powerful wingers. There is in the Premier League, and we're going to suffer a little bit against some of the better sides, I dare say. But all in all,
you're right, and I think after the first 5 or 6 games that I saw Bogle, I'm thinking,
in the Championship.
In the Championship,
yeah. He looked wobbly, didn't he?
He looked wobbly, didn't he, when he first started? And that's why, it's the crowd, it's the shirt, it's everything until you get used to things. But he's just gone from strength to strength. And I look at him and I see, a mentally very strong player. Physically, obviously, getting up and down. And he's been an absolute mainstay. And so far, you're right, he's looked really good. He'll have challenges to come. Everyone will have challenges to come. The team as a whole, will have plenty of challenges. How we kind of, you mentioned that word again, and I say that, how you suffer those moments and come through it and then kick on.
It feels like with Bogle, especially when he came to Leeds, he arrived off the back of basically taking a kicking every week at Sheffield United and was it feels like it was a bad situation there rather than him being a bad player. And it's possibly the same with Rodon, as you said, coming with something to prove. Ampadu as well, to an extent, having not really made it in the Premier League. And
he got relegated 3 times as well, hadn't he?
Yeah. But is there something to be said for no such thing as a bad player, but players being in bad situations versus being in a good situation as they are at Leeds?
Sure. The environment is always key. It's... the team you're playing for, their situation, the style that you're playing, there's a lot of things that go into it, but that's where, on the recruitment side, is where you've got to kind of unpick all of that and work out where the value is. And I have to say, you're looking at the moment like a Bogle, £5 million, absolute bargain. You're looking at Dominic Calvert-Lewin and thinking, my God, if he keeps playing like this and stays fit, he's like, a bargain of the century. Then you're looking at Anton Stack thinking, wow, for that money, we've got one heck of a player. How do we get the someone like Longstaff, for that reasonable? And I say all of this because I'm looking at the fees of what people are paying for stuff. It's 40 million, 35 million, 50 million. I'm thinking, whoa, I think we've got some players that could be that very easily, but, we haven't paid anything like that.
Interesting to talking about the recruitment. It's obviously been a very concerted, deliberate effort to get players either in their peak years or just about to enter them, sort of mid-20s, 26, 27. I mean, there was the joke about the big tall lads who were all 27 coming in, weren't they? Because we seem to get a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking down the squad list now, and actually so many of them tick that exact box of being in that peak years type window. How important is that? What's the shift from being a player who is 21, 22 to somebody who is 27, 5 extra years in the game? What does that do to you?
But I've just said before that, at 27, you've seen it all. You've seen it, done it, and then you can draw on those experience to sort whatever problem out. At 22, you haven't. You haven't gone through those things. So look back at when we were struggling in the Premier League, January, and we bought Jorginho Rutter. Okay. Wrong player.
Was he 20 at that time? I think he was.
Yeah, but so many things wrong with that in that what we required, what we wanted at that time, what was it? It was a striker that was going to get us 9 or 10 goals. That's what we needed. We just needed someone to get us that 9 or 10 goals between January and the end of the season to kind of stay up. And then you bought a player that could be amazing, but he's a young kid and no experience in the Premier League, and you're relying and putting all your eggs in this guy's basket. And when he came, he just struggled badly, didn't he? Lovely, lovely guy. But the whole pressure, the whole thing was just too much because, he hasn't experienced that. Give him a bit of time, give him another season, and then he flourished. Then he looked amazing. But we didn't need that at that point. So come to this transfer window that we've just had. What is it that we actually need? What do we need to stay up? It is not buying 20-year-old might be superstars. It's buying experienced people that have gone through all of these sort of issues, solid, good players, and mould them together to keep us up.
I was just thinking as well when we were talking about that 26, 27, if you look at nearly all of those players that we signed this summer, they all tend to start their careers at a smaller club and have worked their way up through the league rather than starting at, say, Anton Stach had started at Bayern Munich's academy and then dropped all the way down, to second division, bounced about some clubs, kind of like Mickey Cuisance, someone like that. Is there an element of having done the hard yards, do you think?
It's a little bit actually like a bit reminiscent of what Bielsa did, taking players who, for whom this would be the apex of their career to this point, I suppose. Yeah,
and you've got an opportunity. I think the Premier League is hugely attractive as it is. You've now got an opportunity to get back into the absolute, big time. And I think you've got an opportunity to feel quite important again. And that's interesting because you get some players that feel like they have to be kind of the main man. In fact, I think it was Jack Grealish came out just recently and said, you know what, I want to be loved. I want to be loved. I want the one for the manager to put my arm around and tell me, how important I am. Well, if he doesn't get that, he doesn't feel loved. And we know what happened at Man City. He goes to Everton, and Moisey, wily old Moisey will give him a kick up the backside, but then go, but I love you really. And then suddenly he feels $1 million, So those sort of players, you talk about, the Stacks and what have you. Suddenly they're going to come in, they're going to be important because we really need them. And I think they'll rise to that challenge.
Just pause that thought for a second. Dino, you know that we are busy creatives with our fingers very much on the pulse.
Well, absolutely. And sometimes I forget to eat for weeks because I'm so busy creating cutting-edge, finger on the pulse football content.
Insightful football content. That's not true, actually. I've seen you with your little sad box of leftovers that you bring in.
Yeah, well, I am known around Leeds as creepy leftover Dino.
That's leftovers from whatever slop you eat in your house.
Yes.
Not like me, sunshine, because I've got Huel Black Edition, look.
You certainly do, yeah. And we've got one here in front of me that is the Black Edition vanilla flavour sent to us by Huel.
It was sent to us by Huel. This one in front of me is my own strawberries and cream flavour Black Edition that I had anyway. Check my orders on my email. I've been buying from Huel since 2016.
Wow, you were in right at the start.
Yeah, baby, that's me. One of the originals. What is it? Well, it's liquid food, a complete meal that takes seconds to prepare. I'll do the salesy bit for you now as well. 40 grams of protein. So if you're looking to up your protein intake, you've got 6 grams of fibre, 26 essential vitamins and minerals, no added sugar, gluten-free, and less than £2 per meal. And as I said, it's ready in seconds. So very, very convenient. It's better than going to the vending machine and snacking on chocolate and crisps.
It certainly is.
Together, Huel makes healthy eating simple. Try Black Edition today with £10 off your purchase with our exclusive code, TheSquareBall. That's at huel.com/TheSquareBall. Use our code. You can fill out the post-checkout survey there as well to help support the show. Huel.com/TheSquareBall. Show them, Dino.
There it is.
Spurs at the weekend then. Are we potentially catching them at a good moment, if at all possible, off the back of a European trip? And they're not entirely full of confidence at the minute, are they? They seem to be a little bit unsure of exactly where they're heading. Obviously, it's got some quality players in there.
Yeah, I'm always reticent to talk about have we got them at the right time. Yeah. Thinking that way. I think as a player, I don't think like that. I'm thinking what I'm going to face is the best Spurs side, so I'm better be ready for that.
Yeah.
But as I'm talking with you guys, this is a great time to play them. Well, it has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're not going great. They're not firing on all cylinders. They're chopping and changing the side. They drew at home against Wolves, which clearly is not a great result. So yeah, I think it's a good time to play them.
What can we expect on Saturday? I mean, I don't like the early kickoff. If there's talking about good times and bad times, that is a bad time for football, I think, Saturday lunchtime. But I did see there was a Spurs tweet, which I think I saved it or screen grabbed it just for basically comfort reasons, which was like newly promoted side headed into an international break, Saturday lunchtime kickoff.
What can possibly go wrong?
We are doomed. It was a Spurs fan. So I was like, yes, great. I'm saving that just for my own.
I'm having that. I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah. I look back at the Bournemouth game and the last few minutes of that. Oh, that was kind of painful, but the boys did great. And this is another opportunity. But at home, we got to be thinking that we'll give just about anyone a really good game, and Spurs have got to come into that category. And why not? Why not?
Do you know the last time Leeds won a 12:30 kickoff on the Saturday in the Premier League?
It sounds like I'd really rather not know.
Was Tony still playing?
Was it? You sound like Bryn, the prophet of doom.
It was the 15th of May 2021, 4-0 against Burnley.
Okay.
Right. Do you know what? I have got a theory about this, and I do wonder if the relentlessness of the fixtures in the Championship, and because we always got moved to 12:30 because they could then televise it, we played a disproportionate amount of those, but we were often playing midweek as well, and I think the relentlessness of the schedule just didn't help in that regard. For whatever reason, whether it's a prep reason or slight disruption, I don't know. Could there be anything in that, Tony? Tell me I'm right.
No.
All right.
I mean, I struggle. Anything for me that sounds like an excuse, I'm not having it. I'm just not having it.
But you're fully prepared to buy into is this a good time to...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, when it works for me, it works for me. When it doesn't, it doesn't. You go the other way.
They have been to the Arctic Circle and back. I don't think they've had the best of weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No, I think the boys will be itching to get out there. I'm looking forward to another really good game. It'll be fully committed. We'll be there, and if we can pick up some more points, then absolutely all the better.
I just feel like, especially all the talk around the crowd being the 12th man, I hope that the lunchtime kickoff doesn't dampen it too much, because it always naturally does, because people don't have the opportunity to get in the pub for quite as long. It's just the simple truth of the matter, isn't it?
Well, yeah, all you need to do is just move everything you do just forward a few hours. It's simple as that. Granted, the pub's a bit of a problem. Yeah,
but some of them open early. Like, you don't need to worry about that.
Oh, there you go. So we're sorted.
It just feels a little bit uncivilized, doesn't it? Like,
well, the thing with the crowds is a lot of the times in the Championship, it was a team from London who maybe sent 400 fans up. Spurs, I'm assuming, have sold out the away end.
Yeah,
it'll be lively. It takes two to tango when it comes to the atmosphere, I think.
Yeah, and what you want to see, I suppose, is Leeds just being up for it and getting the crowd up for it. And I've been a little bit surprised at how visiting teams have been a bit surprised by us.
Because it's crazy.
Yeah. Because we saw it quite a lot in the Championship, rather, in the bigger games when Elland Road really rose to the occasion. But it's almost like there's a degree of surprise about it coming back. We always seem to be a slight mystery to some of the Premier League clubs.
I think also, we were talking about how difficult it is to stay up in that mindset. I think you look at the teams that are up there and thinking, well, this is a promoted side. So you can suddenly think, well, they're not going to be very good because we've had 6 previous teams who were absolutely rubbish. So maybe it's a bit of that. Certainly, new players that come to Elland Road are going to be surprised. Experienced ones won't be, because they'll relish it. But they know it's going to be a hot atmosphere, and I can see nothing else but it being a hot atmosphere. Simply because just so we got some really competitive players out there, some that will wire into challenges. I mean, Stack at times, when he makes a Longstaff, when it's like. I'm thinking
they walk the line, don't they?
Yeah, well, it goes back to the good old days. Come on, just make a challenge to get everyone going, and suddenly we've got a couple of those players that do exactly that. It's brilliant.
I mean, all it's going to take is Richarlison's moany face to be pleading for a foul and not get it when somebody's taking him down. I'm all for it. I love that.
Yeah, it's pantomime. It was like whenever Tyler Adams got sent 5 feet up in the air
Yeah.
at the weekend. That's what people want to see.
Yeah.
I do.
So-
Actually, I was doing the rooms at Elland Road before the game, and so we go around, and it was fantastic to see Lucas Radaby was there and Nigel Martin. So us three went down and around a few of the rooms, and I was speaking in the Billy Bremner, and as I'm talking, I'm going on and on, and everyone's looking at me fine, and then all of a sudden they all like squint and look at me like really, really closely. I'm thinking, what is going on? Then I finished my answer, and then there was an almighty scream and roar, and they just went crazy. And I'm thinking, my God, I have never had a reception like that before.
Nailed it.
And you know what it was? Fernandez missed the penalty
Right.
on a bloody screen right behind me. And then when I looked at it, I waited. I thought, you know what? I've been retired a long, long time, and I've never wanted to play football or get out there and play again until I saw one particular player, and that Fernandez, I'd love to give him a boot. And I got another big scream, you see. So it was great. It was brilliant.
Working the crowd like that.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Tony, and enjoy the game on Saturday, and we will do it again in a few weeks, and hopefully see more progress and more great fullback in, and we'll catch you soon. all right?
Lovely. Cheers.
See you soon.
Cheers, guys.
The Square Ball Podcast.